Good morning, everybody. Today is going to be the first of many videos, I believe, to come from India. Probably going to end up being our longest series yet. And I am at Qutub Minar, and anybody who speaks probably any Indian language knows that I'm probably saying that very poorly, and I'm sorry. That's going to be a theme for the next, I don't know how many months. I'm going to be here for 4 months, but I don't know how long these videos are going to be coming out for. But this place is really interesting. It was built during the early Mughal period, and the Mughals are obviously the Muslim empire that owned most of India for the longest. So they're very famous, they're very notorious across India because of what they did, and certain groups flourished under them, certain groups were not as welcomed. But at the end of the day, they did have an enormous cultural and historical impact on the subcontinent. So it's really cool to see kind of where some of that stuff started. And in fact, one of the buildings here is considered the first building to be built in the Indo-Islamic architectural style, which I'm not an architect, so that might not mean too much to me in terms of its physicality, right? But I do understand that, you know, Islam is the second biggest religion in the Indian subcontinent. So the fact that this is where that merging of cultures really started does have a lot of significance, and I'm very interested to see everything there is to see here. And obviously I'm not a historian. I'm certainly not a historian when it comes to Indian history, but I will do my best to show you what I can. And I will actually read all of the information that's presented at the sites. Like when you first walk in here, there's a lot of signs that show you a lot of information. So I did actually read all of that, but the names do make it very hard for me as an American to parrot back to you guys. But it's pretty cool. It's really interesting seeing this, obviously this script. I don't know what language it would necessarily be, but obviously this is like an Arabic script, like based on an Arabic script. So it might be Urdu, it might be different enough to be totally unrelated, or not unrelated, but not considered Urdu anymore. It might be Sanskrit written in an Arabic script. It might just be Arabic. I really don't know. But here is one of the tombs. Well, I'm a little closer up now, and you can kind of see some people over there for some perspective on exactly how huge this is. Pretty massive minaret. So this iron pillar here was actually brought to this area. It's a site here, but they don't know when it was brought. But it was made during the 4th century, making it way older than anything else here. The writing on it is actually in Sanskrit as well, and yeah, that's pretty incredible just on its own. But the plaques in front of it talk about how amazing it is, which it is, that it still stands in such good condition, even though it's 1600 years after it was first cast. But it's an interesting little feature that it was just brought here. This is actually a translation of what's on that pillar, if you want to pause and read it. Walking around here, I've been to a few countries in my time, and I would definitely say, out of everything, India has by far, in a way, been the most distinct, architecturally, culturally, religiously, obviously, than any of the other places I've been to, and that's really cool. It's really nice to see that some places in the world are still holding on to their sort of native cultures, when a lot of, especially in the West, cultures have just kind of faded away to the wayside because everybody is kind of standardizing around American culture and kind of just adapting that as just the normal. It's really nice to see, you know, tradition. So this minaret is actually the tallest stone tower in all of India, and it's only, I think it was like 4 feet shorter than Taj Mahal itself, which is pretty impressive, I'd say. It's really incredible seeing just how like intricately made all these are. Like this gate is huge, right? And it's got extreme detail all over it. These little like chipmunk squirrel things are all over here, and they're really cool. In the US, our squirrels are very boring compared to this. Animal Planet. It's a little windy, so I'll spare you, but this is a very, very beautiful place. If you're in India, it's very close to the airport in Delhi. So the ruins you see behind me are actually meant to be a minaret that's twice as large as this one, but unfortunately the king who commissioned it died during its construction, and it was just kind of left as is. And it's unfortunate, obviously, because it would be the biggest stone structure in India, but I guess it just adds an extra layer of history to know that, you know, this guy was trying to beat that one and didn't exactly get to it. So I'm going to the Lotus Temple here in New Delhi, but they don't allow me to use my actual camera, so I have to use my phone camera. So that's inconvenient. But it is very interesting looking. I'll flip it around right now so you guys can see. I actually just ran into some people from Uttar Pradesh that were at the last place that I was at too. That was kind of funny. But I didn't catch it on video because I didn't have my phone out. Sad day. So, something that makes the Lotus Temple a little bit different than most of the temples I'm probably going to see around here is it's actually from the Baha'i religion, which is something that's growing really fast in the US. But it is definitely not one of the major religions here in India. But it's really cool to see this giant temple that they built. It's really beautiful. It's designed, as you can tell by the name, to look like a lotus flower. So, very good job at that. And it's really kind of unique. I don't know if a lot of buildings maybe in Asia look like that because they have them, but it's not something that I'm used to seeing. And I like it a lot. No photos or videos were allowed inside, but they'll let you go inside to pray. That's pretty much it. Any religion can go in there and pray. It's a prayer hall. Check it out. So I'm in a tut-tut for the first time. Earlier I rode an Uber motorcycle. That was interesting. We don't have those in the US. Yeah, I'm off to my next thing here. Enjoying the traffic of New Delhi. I am at Isa Khan's garden tomb in the Humayun Tombs complex area. So basically this is the second of hopefully 3 World Heritage Sites we're going to get to today, and all 3 hopefully of the ones in New Delhi. This is still my first day, so I still can't pronounce anything. I'm very sorry about all of that, and hopefully over the next couple months things will get better on that front. But let's take a look around. So this one seems to have a lot more younger kids who are just out here like on dates and stuff. So hey, I guess that's good. They're coming out here, experiencing history, enjoying a beautiful little park, you know, makes sense. And for them, it's only for, I started talking in the line to the people, and for foreigners, for us Awimbo, it's 600 rupees to get in here, but for locals, for Indians, it's only 40. So, you know, get your money where you can. But this is a really cool little place. The paint is kind of degraded. It'd be nice if they, you know, kept it up a little bit better, I think, personally, but, you know, to each his own when it comes to historical, you know, sites. There is a hole in the wall, this wall, and for the entrance, like walkway. I don't know if they made that, if that was already there, but I really hope it was not made. But yeah, apparently there used to be a village that was like in here. This whole thing was a village up until the 20th century, so not so long ago. During British rule, I guess, there would have been a village in this general area inside these walls. So in this little area inside of an old mosque, it says to take off your shoes. I didn't see any of the Indian people actually do that. I took my shoes off, I just left them over there. Hopefully nobody comes and grabs them. But there's a lot more Arabic script and stuff that we've seen at the first one. So the first two of the 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites are built by probably the Mughals. I assume the Mughals did this one as well. I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see that even though India is very much more like a Hindu, I mean, India is made for everybody, all religions, right? But it definitely has a much more Hindu characteristic because it is the majority, in the same way that the US has a Christian characteristic, even though we allow everybody. It's the same sort of thing here. And yeah, pretty interesting. There's bats in here. I can hear bats like chirping. I'm sure you guys can hear it too. Okay, so this is the tomb of Isa Khan. This is the inside of it. This is his whole family. 3 sons, okay, yeah. 3 sons, himself, wife, and his daughter. This is actually to face Mecca so that, you know, if you're Muslim, it's how you find the way to pray. And then they've actually restored the roof in 2011. So they're keeping it alive, they're keeping it nice, and it's really cool to see this. So a quick little pro tip for all the people that I've learned in my 3 stops in India. 1, every place will have a tour guide out front that will want to give you tours, and they will tell you how much better the tour will be with them. And then 2, once you get inside, every guard will want to be your tour guide if you don't have one. And they will do it actually much cheaper than the guys outside. So take what you will from that. So this gate, the West Gate, is actually the entrance to what is now the UNESCO World Heritage Site here. So I just read a quick little informational thing. There's basically 100 tombs in here. So they call it the dormitory of the Mughals because there's so many that are actually here laid to rest because they've just ruled this area for so long. And it's a huge, very impressive place. I'm very impressed at least. So let's go check it out, see what we can see inside. There was a guy who tried to charge me 25 rupees to video here. I don't think he was even an official. He was just one of those guys who says that he is. I think it was just a scam, but I didn't pay him. So yeah, I definitely think he was just trying to scam. So be wary of that. There's going to be scammers everywhere you go, all over India and in the world, really. Anywhere there's tourists, there's scammers. So the guys I just told you about, I actually took a photo with them this time, but the guys I told you about at the Baha'i Lotus Temple, they are also here. So that's 3 attractions in a row. We are very much making the circuit together on this. Totally like unrelated. We're not even telling each other where we're going next. We're just going and seeing each other there each time, basically. So this is the tourist video. Made it to the top, or as high as I believe I'll be able to go. Far in the distance, you can see modern India. You can't see it because of the glare from the light. And then behind me, very beautiful garden leading to the West Gate that I showed you a second ago. So you can come inside this one. So, and a smaller little offshoot, there's more graves. So, like I said, there's over 100 graves in this building total. So, you know, these 3 must be pretty important to be up here, featured on the basically the tourist level where everybody's allowed in. Yeah, it's crazy how much history and culture you can see just a few hours, because I've only been doing this a couple hours, and you guys have already seen, we've seen a few places already that were all very interesting and sort of separate a little bit. I think this and the first one were both Mughals, so a little more related. There's even a tomb outside. I wonder why. Behind me is the India Gate. It's very, very crowded here. It's blocked off. You can't walk up to it. I don't know if that's normal or if that's just for right now, but not my favorite of places. So I'm at the National Museum. They actually have a Buddha gallery going on right now. I probably won't show very much inside the museum, maybe a couple clips here and there, and that'll be it. And then we'll go on to the next thing. In the Buddha area behind me, I was told I can't video, so I didn't video in there. Maybe I'll video a little bit in the actual museum over here. So this is the National Museum, and I was not allowed to video inside this one either, unfortunately. But I will say this, if you're into art, especially art from the subcontinent, this is literally the place. This is the National Museum of India here in New Delhi, and there is literally art from every single corner of this subcontinent and more. So if you want to see literally anything about the cultural development of India, this is the place. Highly recommend. And honestly, I was not here for very long. If you actually are really into art, you could probably spend a full day in here just looking at this stuff. You can't see it very well, but inside of here there is a gigantic wooden chariot. They use these in southern India to carry around idols of their gods, Hindu gods generally, I would assume. Yeah, it's really ornate, really well carved, like really immaculate looking. Like, it's very cool, but unfortunately the glass makes it hard to see, but it also keeps it from being destroyed by the elements. So take what you can, come out here and check it out at the National Museum. So I'm at the Indira Gandhi Memorial. It's where she lived and where she died. There's actually a place to commemorate exactly where she was assassinated in here. I was told very sternly by the military, because it is the army that runs it. It's an honor guard that's here constantly. Not to video while I'm in there, so I did not. But it is very cool. They have a lot of stuff in there, a lot of gifts given to her by foreign countries. She's an extremely important person to the identity of modern day India. She really held India together when it was on the brink of shattering into 1,000 pieces, because India is not one single culture, it is not one single religion. Even within the Hindi-speaking Hindu areas, there's extreme diversity, even in political thought, up to like communist insurrections that happen in that area specifically, which you would think of as like the core kind of what makes India. So it's incredible to learn a little bit about her history, her story, see a lot of the pictures of her. One of the people in there told me I look like one of her grandsons. I'm not sure if I do, but if I do, hey, that's something. But yeah, it was really cool to see. Again, no video. That's happened a couple times now. I'm not going to make it to the Red Fort today, unfortunately, because it's closed. But I will see what else there is around. So, I am at the National Train Museum. Why, you might ask? Because it is the last thing that my tour guide could think of that would still be open right now, because it is a little late in the day. So, I am going to check out the train museum, and then I'll probably wrap it up for you guys. Hopefully, I can video in here. Otherwise, I don't know how this video is going to come out. So, my first impression is, this is definitely a museum geared towards children, which instantly makes me feel very uncomfortable being here alone as like just a random adult at a children's thing. So this might be very brief. I'm gonna try to stay away from the kids' parts, honestly. But they have an old British John Morris and Sons fire engine from, you know, back in the old days. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go in this museum. I think I'll look at this train on the outside, and then I see like 100, 200 children, so I'm gonna just stay away from there, honestly. I'll go in this part, but I'm not gonna go over there. It's all the kids. So for the internals of the National Rail Museum, I'll say this. The museum, when you come here, unlike every other museum, especially the World Heritage Sites, it does not charge different between foreigner and Indian. That's really great. Two, if you have kids, obviously this is a place to bring kids, so that's cool. Like if you want to bring out your kids and have them do something here in India, that's a great option. And thirdly, if you're really into like British history, the history of the British Empire here in India, I would say that it is a good place to go and see some of that. So yeah, that's the kind of history you'll get here. It's cool. There's a pretty large variety of trains all around back here that you can climb on and off of, check them out, look into them, see what it was all about. They're all pretty old. Britain, who probably when they conquered India, actually were the first people to invent trains, steam locomotives. So obviously, that being the case, the history of India is filled with trains. It's one of the most expansive rail networks in the world just because of the size of the country. So lots of rail history, being a part of the country that founded rail at the time. So I said come and check it out before really walking through all these trains, but wow, there is a ton. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, I don't know, 8 layers of different kinds of trains, different eras, different engines, different cars. And I know, I'm not part of it, but I do know that on YouTube there is huge train enthusiast communities. So if you're part of the train enthusiast community, this is a really great like train museum. Like as a kid, I've gone to train museums and stuff. This is by far and away the most extensive collection of trains that I've seen, engines and cars. Like it's just everything that India's had, it seems like, has ended up here. One thing that will kind of date these videos a little bit is it's actually the monsoon season right now. Like I was told, about middle of monsoon season. So there will be a lot of these rainy days to look forward to. I promise you, India definitely has more than just rain. But for the beginning of this series, it will be just rain. So, I ate some food earlier. I don't actually know what it's called, but I can tell you it was really good. It was like really like spicy, but in a good way, not like too overpowering. Very delicious. I'm back in my hotel room. That's gonna pretty much be it for the rest of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it wasn't anything groundbreaking. I'm not treading where no man has treaded before, or no American, but this is still my first day in India, and I really hope there's gonna be a lot more to come. If you like, then don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Thanks. Bye.